the government. This morning, Chairman Vaughn is taking advantage of Florida at this time of year, and also Jody Fetting is as well, and Tanya Pisha is Pisha. A few more times, we'll get that. I'll get that right, or we'll get that right. But Pisha is filling in for Jody, and we appreciate that as our deputy clerk. So with that, I'll call the meeting to order this morning. It is 8 o'clock. And is there anything to add to the agenda that might have been missed before we begin? Okay, nothing. So we'll just start with our new business, which item number 1 is the jail door request.
We have roll call.
Oh, we're all here.
Well, most of us are.
The chairman would like that one. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Barrios. Commissioner Bardwell.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn, absent. Commissioner Lutz.
Here.
Commissioner Cook.
Here.
We have a quorum. We may proceed.
Now we may proceed. All right, new business. Item 1, jail door request. Mike Miller, Building and Grounds Recycling Director.
He's going to be online. They're busy handling snow removal and ice mediation this morning. I don't know if the sheriff would like to speak about the door or if Mike is online.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, door 5 needs to be replaced. Door 5 is the door that leads to the exercise yard, and it is also one of the only emergency exits that could be used by the jail if they had to evacuate the prisoners. It's a secured area to the exercise yard. This door we've been dealing with for years, grinding and beating on it, and it's gotten to the point now that we just can no longer open the door. So I did get a price. Took me a while to find somebody to give us a quote, but that is the quote. I apologize, I don't have it in front of me, so I think it was $39,000 and change, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mike this morning?
Director Miller, what's the time frame to get it?
I believe the quote says it's 16 to 18 weeks once approved.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, I see it now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a total custom door. It's all going to be hand built.
So what will we do in the meantime? Is the other one functional or kinda?
It is not functional, no. So what we do normally, and what we've done in the past is, once the weather starts to warm up a little bit, we'll take a crowbar and pop the door open for them. Other than that, it is what it is.
In case of an emergency, though, we can get it open from the jail to the outside?
With great difficulty, yes.
All right. Okay, thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Mike, the price tag of $39,000, is that indicative to doors, I guess doors like that, or what makes it so expensive?
Well, one, it's a detention door, so it's more heavy duty. It's an oversized door. It's taller than most doors. And it also includes the lock. I wish I had included a picture, because it's the door, the frame, and then the lock mechanism itself sits off to the side of the door, and it's in its own frame, and all of that's being replaced. And most likely it is in there with rebar, and it's going to be very, very time consuming to get the door out and to reinstall it. And it's all custom. Like, you can't buy this off the shelf. They're making this special for us.
Vice Chair.
Go ahead.
Director Miller, we're going to install it though, or does this company install it?
That's the installed price.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Are there any other doors? I mean, there's this door that's, awful. Are there any other doors that are verged on this same condition that we have? Is this the only one?
I think that's the only one that's.
There's no other doors that are in that condition, no.
Is electronic?
It is electronic, yes.
Okay.
Is it just because of age and use?
It is because of age and it's rusted, and the bottom of the door, actually the frame is bowed out. And we've used grinders and sledgehammers over the years to beat it back into place, but it's just getting beyond our capability to keep it open.
Is this coming from a budgeted line item?
It is not.
We anticipated using the jail improvement fund.
Is this an original door?
Yes, it is.
Well, that's a date. Goes back a while.
Yeah.
65, 64, something like that.
Something like that.
So you divide that by 40,000, it's not too bad.
Any other questions for Mike this morning? Would you like it on the agenda come Thursday with a motion due to the price?
Yeah, I think
Yeah. That
we
would
should have a
be
motion.
Separate motion.
a separate motion. All right. Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners.
And number 2 this morning on the new business, Tuscola County Behavioral Health System, TBHS Board Appointment. Jody Fetting will be presenting.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We have a current vacancy on the TBHS board, and Mr. Zisler has applied. He has had an opportunity to speak to the chair and I believe one other director from that board regarding this appointment, and the board of directors is recommending this appointment. What I'm requesting is that he's appointed to a partial term, which would expire March 31st, 2026. And instead of having to bring the matter back to you, I'm also then asking for the full term appointment effective April 1st for that new 3-year term that we're quickly approaching. And I would be, this would be able to be placed on the consent agenda with your approval.
Just to add to that, last Thursday's night, this was reviewed and it was approved by the board once again to have it crafted that way. And thank you, Jody. That was a great way of crafting it because that was one of the questions that did come up.
Yeah. It just, for us to be so close, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense to bring it back up in 2 weeks just for you to do another motion. I would just as soon streamline it and we can have this matter taken care of.
Thank you for that. And this appointment will complete the number that needs on the board. So we
Correct.
shall we consent?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Thank you. And I believe Tanya had handed out the applications this morning. So if you can just hand those back to her, we'll use those for our distribution of the letter.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Moving on to agenda item 3, medical examiner provider discussion, and our control administrator, Erica Dibble, will be presenting.
Good morning. The medical examiner reached out. They'd like to renew their contract. Upon review, I realized it was expired already. However, they'd like to renew, and I'd like to discuss to determine if you'd like that put out for bids, or are we just going to renew with the same provider? I did have another, ironically, near the same time, another provider reach out offering to bid. But that is up to the commissioners for discussion.
Any thoughts?
Does, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Does he do it just for us or other counties? Does anybody know?
I believe other,
Yeah, he does multiple counties.
Commissioner,
Go ahead.
when did the contract expire and has he been providing services?
yes, he has been providing services, and it appears that it expired in 2023. I did provide a copy in the packet. There possibly is a auto renewal clause. I did not let's see. Independent contractor. Okay, so on the first page, it says that the end date is December 31st, 2023, but on item number 13, excuse me, it says that it will expire on December 31st, 2025. So maybe it was an auto renewal until 2025. He is still providing services as they are needed now, but we should obviously.
I think it just expired.
Mr. Vice Chair? Erica,
Yes,
is
Commissioner
the
Lutz.
price staying the same? Do you
That is
know?
all up for discussion. They are just asking to open the conversation. So I wanted to bring it to you to decide, are we going to have a negotiation with one provider, or are we going to follow the RFP process?
There's, if I may, there's a long history, which I'm not prepared to recite at all, but we had not a great experience with the previous medical examiner. And Dr. Maroney came in at a time when times were difficult. Now, interesting enough, prior to that time, we had a lot of complaints with the previous medical examiner, if you remember. And if you don't, we did. And as Dr. Maroney stepped in, we haven't heard from Dr. Maroney in quite a while, and I haven't heard any complaints unless someone else has. The typical complaint would have been the length of time it took. Well, there's many prior to that, previous, but with Dr. Maroney, the last concern was the length of time between death certificate and being issued. And I don't think we've heard anything related to longevity of issuing death certificates.
I have not heard anything since I've been control administrator. However, there may have been some issues in the prior administration.
This morning is Chairman Vaughn on?
Bless you.
Does he happen to be? When I talked to him, I wasn't sure if he's going to join us or not.
Yeah, I'm here.
Chairman, remember all the all the issues we had with the previous medical examiner now, if you've been listening, and if not, it's related to Dr. Maroney's contract coming up. Have you heard anything or been involved in anything related to Dr. Maroney?
You know, we've had a few issues. Commissioner Lutz had a couple issues that he's dealt with. But with that being said, we went right to Dr. Maroney, and he has taken care of it ASAP as soon as we had him. So on that aspect, he's answered us right directly. But we have had a few things that people have death certificates and stuff. But Dr. Maroney has answered our request ASAP real quick when we've gotten a hold of him. So he's got right on top of it when we've had a problem.
All right, well, thank you for that, Chairman, because it's been some time and I know it hasn't come before the board as it did at one time. It was a pretty regular discussion. My thought is that to bring forth whatever the terms of his last contract was, we don't know what that is. And then again, I think the board would like to see that, pleasure of the board. And also, who contacted you related to a possible alternative?
I don't even want to try to pronounce their last name. 1 second. No, started with a G. I do have it written down in my office.
Oh.
They're a provider of other counties. They just reached out asking who provides the service and if we were interested in a bid. I have their phone number. I haven't yet returned their call. They literally called last week. This was already in discussion. So I wanted to be able to provide them with an answer of, yes, we're going to send it out for bids and here's what we need, or I'm sorry, we're happy with our provider and we're not taking bids at this time.
What's the pleasure of the board?
If we're happy with the service that we have from him, I would say to stay with him, just because it will take somebody else a period of time to get back on.
I'd like to know if his rates are going up and what he's charging.
He didn't make a recommendation.
No, again, he only asked what was the status and are we sending it out for bid, or so we haven't yet solidified any of the factors. We're only saying, are we going to request a bid from multiple people, or are we just going to have negotiations with one? Once we know that, then I will move forward with Dr. Maroney to say, okay, what are you proposing, and bring that back to you.
Vice Chair.
Go ahead.
I think with most things, if we have somebody else that comes forward to offer their services, I don't think it would be a bad idea to at least get a quote from them and call some of the people that they're doing work for. Even though we haven't had issues with them, I just think that's the prudent thing to do, but I'm just speaking for myself.
Clerk Fetting does have her hand raised.
Clerk Fetting?
Thank you, board. I also remember some of the struggles that we had with our previous company, and as well as I'm sure Commissioner Bardwell and Commissioner Vaughn fondly remember those discussions. So I would offer to be able to get with Controller Administrator Dibble to get what counties this other company is providing services to, so that I can reach out to the county clerks and get a little feedback that way. I think that is very important in our due diligence, because it was painful before, and I would rather not go through that pain again.
Thank you, Clerk Fetting.
Thank you. So if you choose to solicit that bid, I would be glad to reach out to those counties.
Well, my first thought is, and this is just from my perspective, is that we get in contact with Dr. Maroney and get a proposal from Dr. Maroney. He's served us well. I think that's a professional courtesy. And then from that perspective, then we can decide if we want to RFP it. In the meantime, if the board would like to explore further the alternative in terms of breadth and depth and counties covered and anything of that nature, certainly support that. But I think Dr. Maroney, before we move forward, would need to provide another proposal. Thoughts?
I think so too.
So the next steps would to get a hold of Dr. Maroney to get a proposal. He usually comes in and presents. He'd be surprised if he didn't. Maybe he'll do it on virtual, but he's been very hands-on over the years, especially related to the proposal and answering questions related, getting people, new commissioners and others introduced to him. So I would start with that. And then if the clerk had indicated she would assist in terms of getting the counties of the other proposal, because in a sense, I think it's always good to look over the fence, but I'd be careful in this case. In one of the areas that we haven't heard of, and that's from the sheriff, because the sheriff has to deal with much of what Dr. Maroney does. Perhaps at a later date, would you like to give your thoughts as well?
On a later date?
You can do it right now if you'd like.
We can do it on a later date.
I didn't want to be premature. I know it was just calling you out of the boardroom and say, can you give a presentation on Dr. Maroney? Because normally you would come in with some statistics and issues.
Yeah, at a later date.
I got that 3 times. That means it's a later date.
I don't know if it would hurt anything for Clerk Fetting to call around with a name, though, would it?
I would advise against it if they haven't actually put in a bid. It was just a phone call. They just left a voicemail. I would advise against checking references and doing all of that without asking them first to bid. That's my opinion. I will do what you advise.
I still stand on mine. I think we should get a bid from the new people. But I'm only one commissioner. And
Sure.
nothing against our current one at all.
Maroney.
There could be an additional provider as well that we're unaware of that hasn't reached out yet.
My only thought, Commissioner, was we give them the professional courtesy to give us a proposal to see, compared to the current one, which had expired, to see what the increase was before we move. But apparently, I mean, even though it is expired, I've been scanning this, Erica, looking for the language of continuation, but it seems like it's being continued. I
Yes.
mean, but normally there's a clause in there, and I have not been able to.
Chairman, anytime I've got a hold of him, he's got right back with me.
Has he?
He's always tried to help.
Well, that's not unusual with Dr. Maroney.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next steps, get a proposal for Dr. Maroney, do a little information seeking related to the second request or whoever it was, just to see if it's in this region, if it's here or if it's up north, or it's always nice to have them clustered together. That's what we did with Dr. Maroney. He's local. Any other thoughts on that? The urgency would be what? What do you think, Erica?
Well, considering their contract is expired, I mean, I believe the urgency would be high. I will reach out to Dr. Maroney's office and confirm that they're going to continue services, which they have so far in 2026. They're going to continue services while we work through this. I will confirm that and bring that back on Thursday.
And just being on the other side of the fence, and I'm sure we all have, if I were Dr. Maroney, and I would probably continue till I'd get maybe not as amiable if I knew he was going to quote. So that's why I'd like to get the proposal, or seeking a proposal from him before. Put it in sort of a step for him, and I agree, an RFP is fine, but if he's very close to where he was last time, which seems like he has been in the past, that'd be my proposal. I propose that, Chairman, unless you have any other thoughts you want to add to it.
No, I concur with you. You know, I know what the struggles we had the last time we went through this. Dr. Maroney came in, stepped in. This is something that you want to be really happy with the service he got provided. I think he's done that. Unless something is really drastic, I would be hesitant to try to change examiners at this point, because I don't want to go up through what we went through before.
All right, well, thank you for your thoughts. All right, if there's no other questions, we'll move forward. And I suppose when could we expect some feedback, Erica? What are your thoughts?
Well, Well, I will reach out to Dr. Maroney's office today, just to ask the question.
Okay.
Are they willing to continue with the current contract in place while we work through this? Obviously, this is a contract that once they give us a proposal, will need to come to you, and then it will also need to go to legal before anything is finalized. So that could take some time. So we want to make sure that they're willing to provide services. If they're not, then that will escalate it, obviously.
All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll wait to hear back from you then. All right, moving forward on item number 4. Staffing discussion at Central Dispatch. Again, once again, Erica Dibble, our Control Administrator, will be presenting.
Thank you. I also have our co-interim directors here if we have more questions. As you know, they're understaffed. We have new hires in training, and we have our co-interim directors who are trying to keep everything under control. We've been in discussions that perhaps it's time to utilize the vacant supervisor position. That would be, that was already budgeted in 2026 and 2025, but has yet to be filled. So we'd like to open up discussions about adding in a supervisor that would be able to help the co-directors as well as help the staff. The person would be certified dispatcher that could jump in and cover a shift, as well as handling some of the higher level supervisory duties. The goal would be for the supervisor to not work at the same shift as our co-directors, but maybe overlap. So there should be some time, but we don't want a supervisor there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. We would like a supervisor there off shift. So when there's something that arises, there's someone in a leadership role that can assist. And they obviously, you know, there's funding issues there. However, not having a supervisor does also pose a risk because our co-directors, they're handling a lot of things and they can't be there 24/7. They're answering their phones nights and weekends, and they're doing their best. But I think a supervisor position would be in our best interest, both for the current staff and our current leadership.
Vice Chair.
Go ahead.
Since I'm on the 911 Authority Board, they asked me to be on that call Thursday morning, and I concur with Erica that this will help the 2 co-directors. I think it's going to help the environment out there, for lack of better words. I don't know what else to say. But we talked for quite a while about it, and I think in this transition to a full-time director, if we can find one, I think this move, the supervisor move, will enable that to take place much more smoothly.
So commissioners, because this position has been vacant for a while, I did not want to just begin advertising and fill the role. I wanted to discuss it with you prior to that. So what I'm seeking is permission to move forward with the process, and then obviously interview and all of those things that you do. And then we would bring back the name of that prospect before moving forward and with the actual promotion. But I did not want to go through any of those procedures if you would then ultimately decline that promotion. That would not be time efficient for ourselves or co-director, and also not kind to that person who potentially is getting a promotion.
Any other thoughts or comments?
So you're thinking maybe promotion within or actually hire somebody?
Well, we would post it internally as well as externally, and we would review all candidates. However, in order to be a supervisor of a dispatch center, you also have to be a dispatcher first. You have to understand how the operation works, and you have to be able to jump in and fill a seat if needed. So logic would say most likely it will be within. However, can I say that there's no other qualified candidates out there that would apply? I can't say that.
Further thoughts? Proceed, or
I would
I'd
like
say
to,
proceed.
it's your
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yeah. I'd recommend we proceed with it.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
Proceed.
Proceed.
Proceed. What do you need for that, Erica? Do you need a,
I will, if you'd like, I can put that something on the CA. I don't know if I actually need a motion, but for transparency, I think it wouldn't hurt.
agree with the board?
Yeah.
All right, we'll make a CA.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for that, for everyone's discussion. And down to number 5, amendment to the 2026 Extension Service Agreement with Michigan State University Extension. Carly Krieger, District 10 Director, will be presenting. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so we did, or you approved our 2026 MOA. However, I have today a proposed amendment to the MOA. As I've shared the past several months, I've been trying to come up with a good plan to utilize our fund balance that we have with the millage. And so I've had lots of discussions with different departments and institutes on campus, and this is, I think, a really good plan going forward. So a few months ago, we were talking about working with the EDC to renovate the building a little bit that we're in, to be a little bit more conducive for the staff members there. However, with the recent loss of our SNAP Ed staff and our staff now dropping quite a bit, I think it's wiser to prioritize staffing and getting more people out in the community to reach our community members with more programming and outreach rather than putting that money into a renovation to a building. And so the amendment that was attached in the agenda here outlines what the proposal is. What I just passed out this morning is just with all the figures, so you know what we're talking about. So I included some historical information here, just so you could see the trends of what we're working with related to the millage, and then some projections moving forward. So as you can see down in the lower left-hand corner there, those are the proposed amendments that are included in the attachment. Just to go over those really quickly, we're proposing 2.2 FTE for Agriculture and Agribusiness Institute educators. So they will not be housed here in the Tuscola County office, but most of our educators have a regional coverage area. So both of these people will be housed more than likely in the Huron County office. So we have been without a dairy educator in the Thumb for probably 3 or 4 years. Obviously, we have a very high population of dairy farms. So we've been trying to come up with the money to be able to post that position again. And so with the help of a portion of the millage money going toward that person's salary, we were able to kind of maneuver and be able to post that position. They will be, of course, helping and reaching out to dairy farms here in Tuscola County. In addition, the other ag educator will be focused on field crops. So this is Jenna Failer. She's come here in the past to give updates. She's not a new person. She's been with us for about 4 or 5 years. She'll still be based in the Huron County office. She regularly already works with growers here in Tuscola County as well as the rest of the Thumb area and beyond, really. She's been really leaning into working with a lot of organic growers. We have a pretty high concentration of them, especially in the northern Tuscola area. So this will kind of help solidify some of those efforts of her working with them a little bit more. And then in addition, we're proposing to hire a temp on call position for 4-H. So this person would work with our current 4-H program coordinator, Rihanna Wilkerson, to help with more programming and outreach, again, to reach more of the population in Tuscola County with our programs and services. So this would be 20 to 29 hours a week, up to 29 hours a week, but all year round. But again, just on a temp on call. So it's not a permanent position, but as long as we have funding and the person is willing to stay with us, we're hoping to keep them. And then additionally, an additional $4,000 for more office operating / program supplies. All of our budgets are pretty tight these days, especially 4-H. And so this will also help our other educators who serve Tuscola County, like our food safety educator, health educators, so they can have the program supplies that they need to do more programming here in Tuscola County. So as you'll see down there on the spreadsheet that I just handed out this morning, this is the new total, the $257,960 is the amended MOA amount. So you'll see that in the 2026 column there for the expenditures. And again, these are the proposed dollar amounts going forward. The revenue, of course, that's the millage. That amount was projected, and that's what I was given from the county for 2026. I just took a pretty moderate and conservative number to estimate the projections going forward the next few years. And you'll see that under the revenue gain and loss down there, kind of in the middle of the page, just for reference. But just wanted to show the historical gains of the millage in the past. And then again, I just estimated about 5,000 going forward. So as you can see, the net will be decreasing, but that's what we want, of course, because we want to draw down that fund balance. And then you can see the beginning fund balance and end fund balance for the next few years going forward. So we're still, even with these additional staffing changes in the amendment, we'll still be at a very healthy budget going forward. And then just for reference, down below, kind of in the middle, those are the figures if we did not change, if we did not accept the amendment. So as you can see, we'll just continue growing that fund balance, which we don't want to do, obviously. Any questions?
Questions for Carly?
I have one. So the person that's gonna be in the Huron office for the dairy, they're just gonna do Tuscola and Huron County? That's it?
Really, it's a regional. So it's not, right now we have somebody in Ottawa County that's covering calls and coming over here a couple times a year to do programs. So it's really a statewide appointment, but focusing mostly in the Thumb area. There's the highest concentration in Huron, Tuscola, Sanilac. And we do have space in the Tuscola County office if they need to come here and work for a day, or, you know, as they're on their way of seeing growers and farmers.
Carly, is dairy holding its own in this region in terms of the number of dairy farms?
Yes. I don't know the figures off the top of my head, but we were just looking at this a few months ago. It's kind of interesting to see the trends because in our world anyway, we think dairy most heavy in Huron County. So it's kind of interesting because there are fewer farms, but more head of dairy cows in Huron County because they're bigger farms. But in Tuscola and Sanilac, there are more farms, but fewer head of cattle. Does that make sense?
Well, no, but it is what it is.
But yes, it is. Yes, it's holding their own.
It's a choice that the landowners made versus cattle versus farming versus, dairy. I was just curious because it's something we need, especially if it's declining. I mean, there's a lot of competitive solar and all the stuff that's going on related to giving up land and the age of the dairy farmers, which, any idea?
No, I think I just heard our director of the Agriculture and Agribusiness Institute last week. He was saying in Michigan, dairy is still the #1 commodity by far. It more than doubles the next highest commodity still.
So what about our beef farmers? Is there any help out there for them, and how are they looking?
That's a good question. We do have a beef feedlot systems educator. He's located in the Sanilac County office. And again, he's got a statewide position, but services mostly the thumb in Sanilac in particular. So that would be more of a question for him, but yeah.
Well, I would think beef would have gone up a little bit because it was a very high, if you've gone to the auctions. I know I had the thought of selling our beef and buying my own. I could get it cheaper and I get more money if I sold it. I mean, it's the beef prices were just phenomenal. They're leveling off now, but what feed, that's a whole story in itself, how to get revenue. I've got a question, if I may, up in 2026. I'm just sorting this out. I know the revenue is 244 and it says the MOA, the expenditures are 257, leaves a net loss of 13,474. And what I was reasoning out is that is the millage, and if you drop down to the next two in the middle, that's your fund balance, and that's why the 13,000, that took care of the 13,000. Isn't that somewhat correct? Or what is the negative 13?
Yeah. So that's taking the expenditures minus, or the revenue minus the expenditures. Which really, it's, the county MOA is probably 98% of the expenditures. There's a little bit of additional costs that the county have, but that's most of what our expenditures are.
So again, from 26 on, it's a negative, but your ending fund balance, the next two lines down, are positives. What's offsetting that? What am I missing here?
So we've been building the fund balance because our revenue has been higher than the expenditures for the past several years. And we obviously don't want that. We don't want to be sitting on taxpayer dollars. And so this is the plan to spend down that fund balance while still slowly, so we still are in the positive with the fund balance. So as you can see, it's just decreasing, by 13,000, 16,000, 19,000, but it's drawing that down while we can still offer more services and outreach to the county.
All right, so what you're saying, use the term drawing it down. That's the symbolistic of what the negative is.
Yes.
That's what you're taking.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if that would be positive, we would still continue growing that fund balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand what that means now. Any other questions? No other questions? Pleasure of the board for Thursday?
On agenda?
Would you want this on the consent agenda or would you want it on a motion?
I don't know.
It's amendment,
I think a motion.
motion probably, if that's all right. All right. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
Appreciate your presentation. Look forward to hearing from you further in the future in these two areas. All right, moving on. We're getting into, there's no other new business. Moving into old business, the Amish Bridge easement request, and that's Commissioner Tom Bardwell with Commissioner Nancy Barrios, who I'd like to bring us all up to date of a recent meeting. If you may.
We met on Friday, the 16th of January. There was a special meeting. We were supposed to be going out from the DNR office and going and touring the actual location. There was a call that said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to meet at 1 o'clock instead. I think we found that out at the last minute. So I went at 1 o'clock to the road commission where the meeting was called and met with Sarah Thompson, chief of the wildlife division. And she had with her 4 of her staff members that would report to her, Terry McFadden being one, 2 from the area here from Fish Point as well. They did not want to have, I turned up there, but I was not technically supposed to be there. But as road commission liaison, I thought, well, I'm going to just take and go in there. And if they tell me to go, well, they'll tell me to go. So I sat in on the meeting. They were very cordial. The meeting was specifically to find out from the road commission if there were any previous historic connections that connect Pringle Road on through to Kelly Road or Lambton Road through to Greenland Road. On the books, if the road commission had any information on those possible alternatives. There are no bridges there. There is no connection there. There is no through roadway either at either of those intersections. But what they're trying to do, what she's trying to do is she desperately does not want to interfere with the DNR property because of the way it was purchased for hunting. And she said the purpose is a fact-finding mission to talk to the road commission, and it'll take however long it takes. But she wants to ensure that there's no possible alternative. In other words, is there an old easement that's been long discarded that the Amish can go back to, maybe purchase land privately and make that easement directly across to connect to another road? So she wants all of those types of things investigated and to be sure that there's no alternative that can take the place of the easement through the DNR property. She said if there's another route, the Amish can work with the road commission and pursue and pay them the couple of $1 million it'll cost to construct the routes. She was adamant DNR is paid for by hunting and fines, and federal dollars can't be used for any other purpose unless it's an absolute last resort. She also went on to explain that because it is a designated hunting area, there is a clear and present danger to individuals and horses traveling through that area. They could make an easement through there, but there's hunting currently going through. People could be hunting at any point in time, and the danger of being shot is one that she wants to make sure people are aware of. Whatever is built, it would need to be built to code for liability purposes. If it's strictly non-motorized, it would need to have a locked gate. So she questioned, it's got a locked gate on either end of those 2 areas. Who's going to be responsible for having a key, and how will they open and close the gate and lock it to prevent other people with motorized vehicles from going through? She said that even if it was a non-motorized road, it would have to transport an ambulance if an ambulance was necessary. There was a discussion on the type of bridge. She said hammer and nail wood bridge isn't structurally safe and would require regular maintenance. and due to the span over the river, would require supporting bases that are costly, permit issues with Eagle and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Today's meeting was designed to question the Road Commission on whether there were any prior road easements or bridges at Greenland and Lambton Road or Kelly and Pringle Roads. Brent brought up a road map, but he said he did not have any historical information on whether there were any road easements prior over the Cass River in those locations, and he would need to do research, and that would probably take some time. I asked Brent if he could display the GIS map overlaying the planned site showing private ownership, and I indicated to him that the reason that we went to the DNR in the first place was the land around that area is all privately owned, and the DNR spot is the only area that's open to, it's a state land. I mentioned Handley Road because that was mentioned in some passing, so I just brought Handley Road up as a topic, and Brent looked that up. It's further on, I think it's a mile east of M53. I told him that I wasn't sure where it was, but that a one-lane bridge on that location was previously talked about. He said it's in Sanilac County. On the map, it shows a broken path over the river. So I don't know what that particularly means. Shows no current bridge or road easements on Brent's map, at least the one he has. Nobody there was aware of the Handley Road discussion. I did ask about the fact that no one else was invited to attend that meeting because there were some questions that I think Bishop Bricker could have answered, or Representative Alexander. And I was told by Mr. McFadden that they did not want to have anybody else there. At the time, they decided it was just going to be the Road Commission and them, and they would go from there. So that doesn't mean there couldn't be future meetings, but I just thought it would have been beneficial to have some people there that could have answered the questions. Sarah said that she was told the primary need for the DNR route was to connect the North and the South Amish families. That was the only reason that she indicated that the road was necessary. I responded that the hospital and the grocery and some of the businesses that the Amish have to frequent are located in Cass City, which requires transportation from the east over 53 to come in and using an alternate route. Again, she said the information was that the primary purpose was just to connect the two groups of Amish. Brent is going to research if there's any prior historical road easements through Hadley Road, Greenland and Lambton roads as well, and talk with the Sanilac County Road Commissioners to determine if there's anything that they have. The next step that they asked for was to put together maps. So she wants to see between the border of Sanilac County and Tuscola County, where are all the Amish families located? What is their current route of travel? And what is their proposed or suggested route of travel? So putting together some type of a slide with different color lines that would show transportation proposed, transportation current, and where are all of the Amish families located, so that she can get a visual on what is the relationship between where they are and where they need to get to be. So that's what we've been tasked to bring back and put together. And that will also include getting information from Sanilac County, because Greenland and Lambton are the county line. And then beyond that east are Sanilac County. And I know there's a population there because one of the bishops, if I'm not mistaken, lives on, is it Robinson Road, east of 53. So Sarah requested this data in order to better evaluate possible alternative options. And then she sent a letter. She said she was concerned she didn't want to give that letter out at that time because she wanted to make sure people she sent the letter to received the letter. So I got the letter afterwards, and this is a letter. I mean, it's got a whole bunch of information, and it was addressed to Representative Greg Alexander and a Mr. Jonathan Williams from the Michigan House of Representatives. So our next task is to gather that information and put together some type of a visual that we can get to Sarah so that she can evaluate on her own locations, transportation routes, and proposed routes. In the meantime, the Tuscola County Road Commission is going to be working on finding out any historic data on what the routes that maybe have been present in the past were, and if that's a viable alternative. I did talk yesterday to retired Deputy Sergeant Larry Cobb from the Michigan State Police, who's a Cass River Greenway member. And when we were out working on the Kelly Road site for the rustic launch, he had mentioned that there was an old road that went along the river. So I called him yesterday and talked to him, and he said, actually, it wasn't a road, it was an Indian trail. He said it went all the way down on the south side of the river, following the river. So whether that is something that in the old days people traveled with their vehicles, I don't know. But I did mention that to Brent as something that he might want to look into as well. So that's where we stand. She said they're doing their due diligence to make sure that they've exhausted all possible alternatives before they move forward with giving access to that section of land. Brent did comment that if there was a bridge put over, no matter whether it was a wooden bridge or what, it would have to have a cement pier foundation because of disintegration and access to the water. So it can't just be wooden. So that was it. So it's still in the works, but we have our assignment.
Well, thank you, Nancy. Any questions for Nancy? Oh, where shall I start? This is an interesting scenario, but it's a good one in the sense that many things, it's gotten to a head where now we can see where the resistance is, where before they ignored it, now they got a piece of paper where they can't ignore it, but they didn't read it. Because some of the questions that Sarah asked, especially related to safety concerns, was on the reason for the easement. I mean, they produced the form, they asked questions, but however, they didn't obviously read it. I'm not sure if Terry McFadden did either. But we got caught in a little political issue, and I just want to get a little sidebar here in terms of which lacked a lot of professionalism in barring Representative Alexander, a last-minute change, barring the bishop, barring myself, and in working through this at the last moment, it was very beneficial that Commissioner Berrios sat on the board, on the Road Commission board, because the test of time was to see if she would be not allowed to attend that meeting. The interesting part, which ought to be public record, is the letter that was sent out and the conditions that you heard, some millions of dollars to build a bridge, the types of restrictions you'd have to have. And if you think about this, this is basically all about a safety issue, which reminds you of something else, does it not? The layers of clay that it takes and all the excuses that can be given. Unfortunately, the best part of this is we know where the DNR is at. On Sarah's request, and Cody and I had a couple of conversations by email related to the Amish map. Sarah's concerned about the population and locations, roads, a lot of other data. Could have been alleviated if Bishop Booker would have been there.
Right.
The Amish published a directory for $12, which Cody has one, all who work with the Amish have, that identifies every road on both sides of 53, every community where people live, their names, their children, you name it, their cemeteries and their schools. And in this particular case, Cody was requesting some demarcation, which was the number of schools, which are plenty, and a few cemeteries. That's all readily available. It's like reinventing the wheel to ask for the same thing, because the book tells it all. And the book is always outdated because they only publish it, I think, every 3 years or when the community grows enough, but the community continues to grow. So my sidebar discussion here is that it's, in talking to Representative Alexander on Friday, a lot of frustration there. There's something obviously going on to our representative from a meeting that he's been working on. I couldn't quite figure that out. I didn't get any comments from the representative to that degree, but he said, we will work on this in Lansing. All right, we'll work on it in Lansing. In the meantime, like a similar case, the wheels have slowed down. This is 3 years, pretty close to 3 years, just on this particular one, related to a very simple discussion. And believe it or not, what I did hear, I think, did you tell me they did take their tour before they had their meeting?
I found that out at the meeting.
Yes, they knew where it was. And if Cody or GS would produce that map one more time, where that bridge is, you could look at that river and everything around there, and you could say, if I was going to build a road to a bridge, that would probably be it, because that's the shortest distance between this point and that point. Interesting enough. It's just sort of, you can tell I'm frustrated, but I just don't want anybody to get hurt. That's all. Any other?
Commissioner, yes, you talked about that Amish directory. Where can that be purchased?
Red Maple Market, out on Swagler Road. There's another one on Robinson Road. It's
Okay,
another
any of
store.
those stores have,
Yeah.
will have it.
they'll have them. If they know what you're looking for, if they don't have them, they'll find you one. If they have to take it out of the front room. But it's an interesting book if you want to, anyone wants to see one. Any other questions? Once again, thank you, Nancy, for the time you put in. I'm sure the meeting went in a different direction with you sitting there. My fault. All right, that completes number one. We'll continue to number two, but if anything comes up between now and the future, we'll come back to that topic. Number two is the Road Commission ballot language, and our control administrator, Erica Dibble, will be presenting.
It was requested from some commissioners that we discuss the ballot language. You'll see from the two attachments, the one is from, 2024 through 2031. And it explains what the mills is, 0.9657. This is the ballot language that Clerk Fetting had previously provided me. And then that was on the primary roads and street improvements, 2022 renewal. The bridge and street improvement renewal also was from the 2022 ballot, and it goes from also 2024 to 2031 in the rate of 0.4807.
Any questions for Erica on the board?
I would like to see us get with our attorney and get ballot language legal, see about putting this on the ballot coming up, about road commissioners.
You're talking not the millage. You're talking
millage.
about the changing of the board.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm clear. on the direction.
So this is separate, that question is separate from the primary roads and bridges renewal request, correct?
Right.
Well, I was listening to the presentation, I was reading the bridge and roads at the same time. So just for me to catch up, we don't have any ballot language at the moment, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. That's why it was requested. I thought it was requested last time, but I wasn't sure.
Well, I brought it up Thursday. I wanted to bring it up at the cow that we could talk about it.
Okay.
Commissioner, is this something that the road commission needs to be involved in the discussion on these two items?
On the street improvements?
Yeah.
Roads and
on
street?
The two items on the agenda now, the ballot for the millage,
Yes.
I don't believe there's anything we can do other than if the commissioners decide to reduce, if the fund balance is over a certain amount and every year you review, you can reduce. But I don't know if you can change it other than taking it to the voters. I don't know if you can take it to the voters. That would be a clerk Fetting question.
Correct, that's something I can check into, but I believe that's what you would have to do.
But the secondary issue of the voted board, we have discussed it briefly with, Jamie Nasitis, or excuse me, Bron Kendrick. I know board chair has discussed it with her, but I don't believe ballot language has been created at this time. But we can begin that process if you'd like to have us work on building that language and bringing it back to you.
I would definitely like that.
I'd like a motion for Thursday stating that.
A motion saying to begin creation. Okay.
Please. Is that all right, Vice Chair?
Pleasure of the board. Create a motion for Thursday. Interesting enough, this particular item, we're going back and forth between road and bridge and a motion for related to a different subject. But all right, so with what I understand to be the first part of this road commission ballot language, we have taken care of that, correct? For a motion on Thursday. The second two, the question was, should this go to the people or is this basically the board? I'm not exactly sure.
Vice Chair,
What's
the
in
two
the-
that we were given,
Yes.
I think that it was a miscommunication,
Oh,
Yeah.
correct?
You asked for what the ballot language was.
That's my fault.
I thought you meant the
No,
already approved ballot language.
no,
Oh.
that's
So
fine.
you wanted to
apologize.
discuss
That's why
ballot,
it's getting confused.
potential ballot
no, I
language.
understand. I couldn't
I
figure out.
apologize.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's my fault.
thank you for clarity.
Got
I
it.
was trying to go back and forth on that, wondering what I had missed. All right, any other questions related to number two? No, it's been clarified. All right. Thank you for the clarification once again. Number three, Control Administrator Division of Duties discussion.
Mr. Vice Chair, can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
So I guess I'm getting confused because I thought, when I seen the ballot language on there, I guess I'm bad. I thought it was to have it sent to legal to see about putting it on the ballot to disband the road commission board out there.
That has nothing to do with those ballots.
Mm,
Right, don't have nothing to do with that. Okay,
That's what we're gonna have a motion Thursday.
so there'll be a motion on Thursday for that?
To bring it, telling me to take it to Jamie or to our
Correct.
labor attorney.
Okay, all right.
We're nowhere near ready to approve any
Right, no,
language.
Right.
No.
And I believe Clerk Fetting had told us prior, roughly the first week in May is the deadline
Yes.
for ballot language for the
May.
August election.
Mhm.
So we do have some time. I understand time is of the essence for this issue. However, we want to make sure we have it
Right.
correct before
Right.
we take it to the voters.
Okay, sorry, I was just confused.
Well, I'm glad I'm the only one who wasn't confused because
Well, when I
sometimes,
seen that on the agenda, I thought, well, that's what we're gonna talk about, but then I see this about the primary streets. But, okay, we'll deal with it Thursday.
All right, we can set this one aside now that we've got it, the two parts separated and
Yep, thank you.
further understanding. Thank you once again. Under 3, which was the division of duties discussion with Erica.
I've also asked our HR director, Shelley, to come in. So we have drafts for you. Again, they're light level drafts. I just took the controller administrator roles and divided what I believe to be the division. And then Shelley very briefly reviewed it. So there could be changes. So I'll hand these out as well. And then we can discuss the finance end of it if you'd like as well.
All right, pleasure of the board. Let's receive the handouts.
I'm kind of trapped, sorry. It's Velcro. It's Velcro to my sweater. Oh, wait. Those
Looks
don't
like
say
the
draft.
same, does it say?
They don't say draft. Yours says draft. Okay, well, they're draft.
And these two are the same, or no? Oh, no, they're not the same. Got it.
Okay,
One printed draft, one did not print draft.
Thank you.
Did you get your?
okay, I only got one here, so I'm not sure.
Pardon me?
I only have one packet.
There's one controller, one administrator. And apparently their staples are working very well and grabbing extra. Did you get both?
I have this. Oh, here it is.
So here's administrator. And there's
The other one, okay, thanks.
Commissioner Carter is only, got the only one that says draft. Shelley, did you want? Okay, thank you.
Mine also do not say draft.
Oh, okay. So I've split it into, again, two executive roles. The control administrator is truly two executive level positions, a CFO type and a CEO type. So you've got the chief administrative officer, that would be administrator. Chief accounting officer, CFO would be county controller. There are some overlap of things. For example, the administrator would oversee all the departments. However, county controller would oversee all departments' financials. County administrator would oversee HR, payroll, benefits with the HR director leading that, the payroll and benefits. But the county controller would obviously make sure that it's a balanced budget and there's any financial restraints on that. They would be working in coordination. County administrator would oversee FOIA, contracts, agendas, risk management, facilities, property, infrastructure, assistance with, oversee buildings and grounds, safety, all the things. Whereas the financials would all be handled by the county controller. it's my vision that we would take feedback from you today if you're ready to provide that, and we would make adjustments and bring you back a final on Thursday. If you don't have, if today is too much, and you want to take it home and email me and say, I found something, I'd like you to change this, then, we can definitely do that. But our goal would be to bring it back Thursday for approval for at least the county administrator, so we could begin the search. We do also need to fill the county controller position, but I'm planning to stay on for a short period of time. That could wait till the following board meeting if needed. But obviously, for high-level positions, the longer we wait, the more risk you have of a vacancy. Now, we do have Connie, our chief accountant, and she, will not let the things fall through the cracks. However, a succession plan is better than a vacancy. Even if we know that the position will be filled and the person cannot begin until July 1st, we know that that person is coming on. It's a little easier pill to swallow than we haven't even began to interview by the time Eric is through.
Mr. Vice Chair. I would
Commissioner
personally like to take these and review them. I think they're two pretty important positions. And I think just scanning over this, for 5 minutes is superficial. I'd like to look at them in a little bit more depth. Is the plan to go with an outside firm to seek applicants like through the state? Or is this going to be something that you're going to do locally?
I don't understand through the state. What do you mean by through the
Well,
state?
there are resources at the state level. I know we've gone through them when we were looking for village manager.
I see.
So there are resources, you have to pay for those resources.
Correct.
I was doing recruiting myself. We went through recruiters that were specialized in people that had that certain type of experience. So are we going to do that, or are we going to put an ad in the paper saying we want this?
That is up to the board. Previously, in 2025, we did have some recruiters come in, and one of them, the fee was roughly $10,000, and the other one, the fee was $30,000. So that is obviously up to the board.
They're expensive. I know that.
Anyone else on the board?
And if we're going to go that route, then obviously they would assist with making sure that the job descriptions meet the guidelines.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'm not interested in that. I'm not ready to spend $30,000 for somebody to come in. I would like to take time to read this and go over it, though.
I agree.
Take time.
And then as for the financials, as we stated before, we do have an open position in the controller's office that's been vacant for a while, but that position is roughly $50,000. So adding that to the control administrator's wages of 110, that's 160,000. If you just divide that by 2, I don't think you're going to get a good controller or administrator for 80,000. And you also want an administrator who is overseeing all the other departments. You cannot have someone overseeing someone who makes more than they do typically. But again, and I know that for 26, I believe we can use the budget we have because the positions, I'll be stepping down. The positions will be filled for a portion of the year, but we still need to set a accurate wage for 27. So when we recruit, they know what they're going to make. When the recruiters were here in the summer of 25, they recommended quite a high rate of pay. I don't think that our county can afford that. So I would recommend, the administrator perhaps be at the 110 or 108 range, and then possibly the controller slightly below that at 90, 95. That would be my recommendation. But again, that's up to the board. The controller is a high level role. However, the administrator would be overseeing all the departments. So I do think it would be justifiable to have a controller slightly below the cost of an administrator.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Do you have data to support or to look at as far as other communities like size in those two positions? Do you have any data?
I believe we do, especially from when the recruiter was here before. We had, I don't remember the name of the company, but it came recommended by Derek Merlot was the first one. And then the other one, it's been 6 or 7 months. I don't remember the name, but we definitely do have those. And we can provide those to the commissioners as a refresher. Now, obviously, if we choose to go with one of them, I'm sure that their quote would need to be reassessed. I would not assume that their quote from June would still be applicable.
Thoughts?
My thoughts is take it home and look it over and email Erica back with our thoughts, and instead of just trying to make a decision here,
Of course. Not a problem. And I'm happy to email that to you in a Word document if you'd like to see it. My only concern is if there's 5 versions, everybody makes their own changes and sends it back. So I would need you to not send me back the full Word document. Send me back I'd like you to add X, Y, or Z.
Vice Chair, I just have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is there anything, and I don't like to kick the can down the road, but number one, we don't have our chairman here. Number two, I don't know, would we be better off? We can discuss it Thursday, but I don't know if I'm gonna be ready to make a motion. Do it the week of the 9th, the first week in February. I'm just asking, is that not pliable, whatever word I'm trying to get? I don't know how the other commissioners feel.
Give us a little time to be able to process.
Again, like I said, I don't want to kick the can down the road, but I wanted to throw that out there, see if that was a possibility. If not,
If I may, Shelley, how long is the typical, I understand that this is a high-level role, but how long does it take to start receiving applications once it's posted out on our website and all those things? I mean, is this something that is going to take 6 weeks just for applicants and then another 6 weeks for recruiting after that for interviews and such?
The last round was about 30 days. And then when the recruiters were here, you may remember, those of you who were here, they were talking months to even really begin a process. So that time, I think one of them, I was just searching for their names, it escapes me as well. It was a suggestion, and you 3 commissioners may remember to split the roles, especially by the one. Can't remember their names.
Vice Chair, do you feel it's an issue if we shoot for the first week in February?
No, I'm open to that. I had a lot of thoughts, and I'm not sure when Chairman Vaughn might be returned. I doubt if he'll return if the weather stays like this.
We can book him a flight.
Or I wouldn't. I want to circle back. We struggled recruiting, not only in qualifications, but in market rate. That is our biggest nemesis, and that was just mentioned. And at a time when 1.9 came out of our budget, and I'm not exactly sure what 27 financial projection is going to look like. Hopefully it's not the same as Clayette projected. And I'm always concerned about finances in terms of cash flow and legacy costs. And what if we get to the point where we have to do FTE reductions? I mean, can we take another 1.8, or I think Clayette's was 2.8 projected. I got to find that projection again, but so while you're talking about should we do it on Thursday, I'm thinking about the financial aspect of it, trying to figure out how to make this work. It's an added position that's been open since Clayette moved into that role, as I remember, right?
Correct, that is correct. And I believe the wages are around 58,000
Yeah.
for that position, and then
Yeah.
we would have the rest of the benefits. So probably about 100,000, maybe a little
Yeah,
less. Now we're still working through that.
So I remember that because it doubled her salary to move. We had that discussion. Well, swinging back to where we're at, the reality at the moment, yes, I think the board needs to review these since it was just handed out, just for whatever purpose that would be, to tweak them or to add to them or ask questions. And if that's the pleasure of the board, that's what we'll do. And for a decision. So after this is reviewed, the next step of the decision is what? What do you see?
Pay scale.
The pay scale? So what prevents the review holding up the pay scale?
There are two independent issues. But you have to have both the job description and the pay scale before you can do any recruiting.
Oh, I didn't mean recruit. I just meant what pay scale, could you assign a pay scale while the board is reviewing?
Yes, and I'm working on some projections, again, for 26, trying to be as close to budget as possible. Keeping in mind that when I step back, I'll be reducing my hours. So therefore there'll be a savings to the county that could be used over here to help fund that position. And in addition to looking at how we're going to land in 2027. However, the greater the financial difficulty that we're facing, the more experienced controller you need to be able to work through those things. And all the more reason you also need an administrator to be able to handle all the other items, the department requests, the contract reviews, policies, all of those things take away from the current structure, preventing me from focusing on financials and where can we save and where can we increase revenue and all those things, because my time is split. And I'd love to tell you it's 50-50, but it is not. Depends on the day. There's some days I don't have a chance to look at any financials. We have Connie and she's awesome, thankfully, because there's days I don't even get to that. Then there's other days that's all I do. So it just really depends on the day, but I would say a good 50-50 split. And the demands of both are high. The fires of both are high. There's critical things that pop up right now and you have to handle it right now. And so when two things crop up, both in the controller side or the administrator side, I have to make an executive decision which one has the biggest negative impact if I ignore it and handle that first.
So taking that in consideration, I think your departure date or requested departure date was in March, wasn't it?
Yes.
March, mid-March? Or-
Early March, like March 7th, I believe was the day we put on there.
Okay, so from the board's perspective, I mean, if you back that up, that does, and you said the last time it took a month just to non-recruit, I mean, not in terms of not using recruiter, of course, but just advertising, interviewing, adding to what you're doing. That doesn't give a lot of time. So just keep that in mind. But at the moment, the board, the standing of the board is to review this and get back to Erica. Is that still the pleasure?
Yes, Commissioner.
Commissioner Barris?
Is it possible for, I don't know, for me, maybe nobody else needs it, but to get the person under you, like for instance, for the county administrator, that would be, Shelley would be the person, who would be the person that would be the person under you,
The controller,
under the
as
controller?
the controller or as the administrator?
As both.
So it goes controller, administrator, and then branches out, equal positions, chief accountant, HR director. So
Okay.
Connie and Shelley, and then from there down. Now, I am also working on their job descriptions as well, because if we split the roles, then some of the duties can be moved around.
Well, that's what
For
I was-
example, FOIA. FOIA currently is being handled by our financial coordinator. Well, she's handling a lot of high-level items. I think the administrator should handle the FOIAs. That is a high-level role that needs discernment, and I think that that would be a smart move to put under an administrator. So I'm working on adjusting their job descriptions as well. So I can give you what they currently are, or I mean, I could give you my very rough draft of what I'd like to see them at, but that has not been finalized yet. It's also dependent on if the board approves the split, because I don't want to redo all the job descriptions and then have the board decide they're not indeed splitting the roles, and then all of that work was for no purpose.
Well, I'd like a copy of the next person in line. That would be Shelley and Connie, to kind of see how all of that stuff merges together myself.
Is that a
My
job
opinion.
description or
Job
chart?
description.
Job description?
And then for clarity, Erica, I think what you said is, and I think the reason Erica is saying potentially pursue an administrator first, because unless something's changed, you intend to stay on, you just intend to go down to part-time in March, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that hadn't changed. So,
yes,
okay,
for a short time during the transition. I didn't want to just leave everybody, in a lurch. I believe if we go for an administrator first, get them in place, hand over some of the duties, and then start searching for the controller. Because it's just too much to search for both at one time.
That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see get the administrator first. That's my opinion.
So sequencing administrator and then the chief accountant, or chief accountant?
Controller.
Controller,
Controller.
we have a chief accountant.
controller. Anything else? Seems like we paused here for a moment to, when I keep thinking of beginning of March. What's the backup plan?
It's a
Plan
good
B.
question. Very good question.
We need one.
We do. So the sooner we could potentially be advertising for an administrator, I think we'll do okay with that. If commissioners remember, our recruiter, administrator, I believe, was actually the easier of the two to fill. And then we do have County Connie, who has how many years as basically a chief accountant between Genesee County and Tusco.
11, as well as two
degrees.
and
yes.
2 degrees,
So
2 bachelor's degrees.
But
So
if
she
we-
could potentially be a candidate for the controller position.
Which leaves you very vulnerable financially.
In what way?
In the sense if Connie would move up, I mean, that'd be your first priority, but then you've got to
Yes.
backfill because there's no one to do the work. And when we talk about recruiting, we're still talking about non-paid recruiting. Well, not a recruiter, but through advertising? Is that what everyone's thinking or not?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, the more we talk about this, the more complex it seems it's gonna get. So Plan B, we know a little bit about, the administrator. Connie could apply, then we'd have to worry about who would back up financially.
I think Connie would be a better fit for controller, if that's what you.
Oh, then
Yes.
I misread. I thought,
Yeah, no,
oh, you meant
Connie
by
has,
controller. Okay,
Connie has very, very good credentials and she's,
all right, that's a little bit different scenario. I misread that. All right,
more to come.
more to come. More discussion. Okay, thank you. Moving on to number 4, the update on the status of flashing stop signs and rumble strips at 6 dangerous intersections. And that's, once again, will be Erica Dibble, Control Administrator.
Okay, so I have submitted a purchase order for the stop signs. I believed we had to set up an account, but I was pleasantly surprised we did already have an account with that vendor. So I was able to get the purchase order sent over. I'm waiting for confirmation that they've received it. As for the rumble strips, we had to set up an account. So I've submitted all of their requested items, their credit history, or not credit history, their credit application, and our tax exempt form. I am waiting to hear back with approval on that. Again, it's only $22,000, but in the eyes of a vendor, I cannot just purchase them. I have to have an account set up if I want to be invoiced. So we're just in the process. Once I get approval, then we'll put the purchase order in and then we'll move forward. I
So
also
how-
worked with, I'm sorry, I also worked with Director Miller, that the products will be shipped to recycling so that they don't arrive here. Because I don't know where I would put them.
So once you're approved for this, they want a check or they're gonna send you a bill or?
That's what we need is send us an invoice. We don't have a credit card that I can go on and purchase these and have them shipped. So we have to set up account with terms.
So they wouldn't do an ACH with a check then?
You still have to have an account with terms to do that.
Okay,
You can't just order them and pay. You have to order them, get an invoice and then pay. And then, our turnaround time is typically 4 days for payment. So we're not asking them to finance this for 6 months. But in order to get any product shipped to you, you have to have an agreement and swear that you'll pay the bill.
okay. Thanks.
So, yep, I submitted the credit application and we went from there.
That, what you were talking about, just about the rumble strips or both?
The rumble strips.
Just the rumble strips?
The other,
Clear
the
that
stop
up.
signs, we already had an account. The sheriff's office has already used that vendor.
Okay.
So I was able to submit the purchase order. I did not know that in the beginning, but we worked through it. They validated that we did indeed have an account with the sheriff's office. So they were able to accept our purchase order. I'm just waiting on a confirmation that they've received that
Okay.
and a ship date. Typically, she said 2 to 3 day turnaround, but that's from the receipt of the purchase order.
Okay.
I did submit that. I'm just waiting to make sure I send it to the right person.
Mr. Chair. So where are we at on the work order with the road commission?
Okay, I was waiting for a delivery date for the equipment.
Okay.
Because on the work orders, typically if you don't put we want this installed by date, it's out in the black hole somewhere. So I was not able to get that. So I have here my packet. I went out and I got a work order signed by each township supervisor. And I put my name next to it. Okay. And I put a cover letter with it. I put a map and instructions. Initially, when I went out, I had the request to have the flashing stoplights installed by February 6th. But when I found out that I didn't have, hadn't been ordered yet, and I didn't even have a delivery, I had to redo that. So I put on my cover letter now that they're to be installed 2 weeks after they receive them. So that gives me a little bit of leeway if they're back ordered or whatever. But I have this ready to go. And interesting, each of the townships that I went to, with the exception, I went to Dayton, because Dayton's one stop sign is on Dayton Township and the rest are in Wells. So I had to get the signature of the Dayton supervisor as well. So I have that information. All of those supervisors have had prior discussions, prior work orders, prior letters to the road commission to address these issues. And I happened to pull, so I have this ready to go. I'll make a copy of it and I can drop this off today. They've got 72 hours, as we put in the minutes, to respond yes or no. I've heard, I think Erica heard something about them issuing a stop order, that they heard about this and they're going to issue a stop order. Whatever they do, they have control of the county roads. So could they say, you know, you can't do it and we're not going to approve anybody else to do it? They could. But I think we have to turn this in and find out what the answer to that is. But just so people in the audience kind of know what's what the situation is. I got lambasted by one township that's not even involved in the community, saying, you know, keep your nose out. This needs to be something that goes before the electors. These are elected positions. The problem with that, and I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. When you go into a public building, whether that's this building, whether that's Walmart, whatever it is, somebody slips and falls. What do you see? You see an orange cone, or you see a sandwich board that says, watch your step. Slip and fall. You go to a hospital, you're bleeding. What's the first thing that they do? They stop the bleeding, and then they address, what do we need to do from that point on, but stop the immediate. We've got semi-trucks and we've got cars that are going through intersections, not because the road's bad, the road's not in poor condition, not because there are not stop signs, but because they're distracted. And yet you can wait for 5 years after you have multiple deaths, multiple people maimed, and you can say, we have to study this, we have to study this, we got to get our data. And that's all well and good to get the data. But please at least put up a flashing light so that you alert people, just like the little sandwich board, just like the orange cone. Watch this intersection, we've had issues with it, watch it. It's just common sense, it's just common sense. And to hear, because I heard this and I read it in the paper, the road commission is driven by data. We're data driven. We want to make the right decision. Fine, get the data, but put something up to caution people so you don't have to count 16 more deaths and a tick mark before you actually do something about it. Then when you decide you're going to do something, if you need a state police traffic study, Brett told me, some of the studies are back 7 years because they only have one state police person in this tri-county area that does all those studies, and some of them are back 7 years. So the urgency, the people in the audience that are, I don't want my people in my community to have to come to me and say, there was another death there, or there was another person maimed for life there. Without something being done, the sense of urgency isn't there. Data I get, we're asking for data, but just like a public building where somebody slips and falls, can't you do something in the intermediary to at least bring attention? Be careful, be careful. I understand that it could be a number of reasons that the accident happened, but it happened. So what are you gonna do about it? And right now we wanna get data and we're all drama, we're drama. And I'd like them to say that directly to the person who lost a family member, or 2 or 3, or the Amish who the husband was in the hospital and couldn't go to his wife and daughter's funeral. Is that drama? I don't think so. And I think every one of these supervisors that have written these orders don't think so. December 4th minutes was the last one I could pull from the website. There were 11 people that spoke in the public comment section. One spoke about, from Arbella Township, spoke about the need for state legislation for more road funding. Everybody else was talking about their issues. They want to know about the speeds. They want to know about the road closure on Boy Scout Road. They want to know about work requests for road work. People have been asking for this. People expect something to be done. They go to their township goes to the road commission. Nothing is done because we've got to study it and we've got to wait to get our data. And then they come to us because we're the next level. And we go to the road commission and we hear it's drama, we want data. I have my packet, I'll copy it, I'll drop it off. Whatever they decide, I've got it in here that they've got 72 hours to respond. Whatever they say, I'll bring it back and then we'll go from there. But I'm frustrated. People in my community are frustrated because I have Guilford Township. I don't have Ellington, contrary to what I heard you say. But I've been working with Ellington Township, Wells Township, same thing. It's an issue. It's an issue. The responsiveness, the concern, the care is an issue. I'll take this out. I'll make a copy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you for.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Any comments? Thoughts?
No.
Well, I mean, if they don't give us a permit, put it up, I guess they take them down. I guess we got a bigger problem then, don't we?
It's hard to begin on something like this because we just talked about the Amish. What I want to circle back to is what you had mentioned, that they put a stop work order. We don't know what that means. It was also suggested that we need to make sure that in this purchase agreement, review the terms of return in case. I mean, I would think, because with the fact of a stop work order, which leads to a higher question, is that is legal following this for us, because we're getting into that area that who has the ultimate authority? Does the road commission or the board of commissioners of the county? All right, that's one question. Or are they separate legal entities that operate within their own sphere, none which can be interceded by the other? Which is interesting because we provide the benefits and they mirror the board in terms of increases. Is that not true?
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. I'm not sure where we're at with legal on this, Erica, but it seems like we need to know the demarcation between the two. We've always been led that this is the board of last resort. This is the highest elected board in the county. And that the road commission basically reports to this board in ways or in, it need not to be specified, but in terms of financially especially. Because during the pension issue, they were in here consecutively presenting how they was going to get themselves out of it. So I don't know why they would have come to us if that was not the case.
I would defer to the board chair who has been in communication with legal.
I agree, because it has not been me. I'm not part of that, but I do know that warning signs that was brought up by Commissioner Barrios in terms of what if. So pleasure of the board. There's my thoughts.
Have her submit the work order and go from there.
What's the lead? Okay. Pleasure of the board. Yep.
Yeah.
What's the lead time of the equipment?
Well, 3 to 5 days on the stop signs once they receive the work order, or once they receive the purchase order, which I did submit. But I believe they're in a different time zone, so I'm waiting for them to confirm that they've received it. And then even if we pull the trigger on the rumble strips, I think the lead time is a little longer, but I have to wait for that account to be set up. So, but I believe those could not be installed yet anyway due to weather. So even if they arrive, even if they were here today, I don't believe we could do anything with them with the roads in the current condition. However,
Just a thought,
Yeah.
we're gonna be talking about data-driven decisions, that when we put in this work order, that when these when this equipment gets installed, we start taking data measurements of accidents being prevented as these go on. So just in the same argument, we were saying we need data to provide this, we're gonna start taking data to provide that this is working, and even measuring that it is working. Or if it's not, I mean, like start taking data from the time that we put it in. Start taking those measurements with the road commission, the sheriff's office, the reports of accidents, et cetera. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just not sure what data, how could you quantify near something that didn't happen because of a flashing light? How would you,
We can compare the amount of accidents from the date
just to reduce
after it
a
was
reduction?
installed to the amount of accidents before it
I
was
see.
installed, in 1 year timeline. Compare the two.
Well, interesting at the least in terms of the legality and where this is going.
Mr. Vice Chair, I just got a comment. I just don't understand, maybe somebody can explain this to me, why they can't come here and tell us why this stuff can't be done. We're not gonna bite them. We need to be, maybe we need to be educated, I don't know, but why can't they come here and explain it to it like adults instead of, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Explain it to this board, what's going on, what's happening, and let's stop the back and forth, and let's do what's best for the people. I don't understand it. If they really want to see what's best for the people out there, come here and talk to this board.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Go ahead, Mr.
Um,
Barris.
Mr. Former Chairman Laurie mentioned before he stepped down from his role as chair that he didn't want his people to come here and be browbeat by us. So he did not want his people to be coming here. I did ask for Mr. Tuckey to contact us and set up a meeting to go over the financials. My last email to him his response was, I received your email.
I'm pretty sure by statute, he's supposed to provide that to this board.
Well, that was the response to my email. I said, would you get a hold of Erica and set up a meeting to do a financial review? And his response to me was, I received your email. So it's like I said before, there seems to be this headbutting going on between that group. They don't want to budge, and our group wanting them to budge and trying to get them to budge. And we're at a stalemate, and they'll pursue it. I've heard that, you know, it'll be your attorney against our attorney, and we'll be wasting taxpayers' money. Now, it seems like that's so ludicrous when we're just looking at simply asking for a simple resolution like that flashing light. They have $140, those lights are $140. If they had put that up right away, we probably wouldn't be here. I even asked, can't you have a little closet stash of these lights that when you have a serious accident that you can't go out and put it up at least temporarily to at least alert people, hey, watch this intersection. We had a bad accident here or something, even if it's just temporary.
Well, looking at it from another
We've
perspective.
had
Go ahead.
this done enough. Yeah. Thank you.
If I may just take it up one notch.
That's fine.
the ultimate is that we want to protect the public.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I think both sides want to do that. I think, like, I'll put that in quotes. So what is going to happen as a strategist is that it's going to come to a point where this board will have to make a decision legally whether to pursue with a letter, you know, how that starts, or based on whatever the public opinion is at the time as we're moving forward to create the language, to take it to the people and let the people decide. That would be the decision. Either they'll both occur simultaneously or whatever the outcome of the signs and the rumble strips and the stop work order. That's when the decision point will have to be made. That's all I wanted to say, Commissioner.
No, that's good. Thank you.
All right. We got through number 4. Let's move on. Since there's no other old business, let's move on to finance technology. I got one question, but Ian, do you have anything you want to update us with?
No, other than this is the time of year where I have to renew and renegotiate all of our software licensing contracts. And it's very tedious, but I am doing the best I can to save some money down.
Okay. Thank you for that. And my question on behalf of the board, I know we have a handout, Erica, that you handed out for us.
Yes.
Just on a Cliff's Notes version, can you describe what it is and what we should be looking at for?
This is the requested list of changes from the draft of $1.9 million deficit to the current balanced budget. So the first few pages are line by line, only those lines that changed, and was it an increase or a decrease? And then pages 4 and on, so page 4 is the summary and the change of revenue. Page 5 is the summary of the changes in expenditures or appropriations. Page 6 is those that were an increase to appropriation. Page 7 is a decrease, the total. Page 8 is the decrease in, wait, is that the same thing? Decrease in appropriation. Yep, I might have printed the same page twice. Apologize. Increase in revenue is page 9. Decrease in revenue is page 10. So this shows you where and how we came up with the balanced budget.
There are no there are no totals in terms of.
I thought there was a total on there, but I'm not finding it.
I didn't see any. That's why I was trying to sort out how to approach this.
I was having technical difficulties this morning with the printer. I tried to print it double-sided for you, and somehow one of the pages got missed. It was a great time this morning.
Can you send us that in a PDF?
Definitely.
All right. Any other questions related to the handout? I'll conclude finance technology, move on to building and grounds. Commissioner Roots?
I don't have anything unless Commissioner Cook does. Oh, back to you, sir.
All right, thank you for that. Personnel is Commissioner Barrios?
Nope, nothing.
Nothing there. Completes that. Any other business is necessary? Any other business come before the board? Hearing none, which opens up our public comment period. Would anyone like to address the board in public comment? Billy?
Just to help you guys with some of your solutions. I do have a few connections at MDOT. I'll reach out to those guys today and hopefully try to get you an answer by Thursday. But I do know that if I were to do anything in the private sector, whether it's my own driveway, commercially, or anything that hits their roadways, that I have to get a permit through them. So I don't see why in my small little Google search over there in the corner, why we couldn't get a direct permit from MDOT to install these lights through one of our departments. So I'll try to get you guys some more of that information on Thursday in that direction. I applaud you guys in what you're trying to do. Try to take small bites. Don't get the cart before the horse. I think the lights would be a priority. The roads are pretty thick right now with everything. I don't think you're going to be able to tackle the rumble strips until you get a good thaw. So I wouldn't purchase them right away, in my opinion. In regards to, if you guys read the paper, I think that was targeted mostly towards my family in the avenue that we're taking here. I don't have any ill feelings. Just I want to make for the record on anybody in the road commission. I have feelings on lack of leadership. Decisions need to be made. Temporary. Nancy did a great job explaining to it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but we're also seeing the same problems with the Amish community and the bridge. There's more people that come up with problems than there is solutions, and so I applaud you for some of your solutions and just preventative safety measures until we can find a permanent solution if it takes 7 years from now. With that being said, God willing, I should have some more answers for you guys on Thursday. So
Thanks, Billy.
yeah, thanks. Bill.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment for the board? Hearing or seeing none, let the minutes show that we offered public comment that we did receive from Billy Putman. That concludes the public comment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll support that.
Motion by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Cook to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we now stand adjourned. Thank you.